Why can I not go a day without some level of government propaganda or some well meaning moron who lives an urban, sterilized life telling the rest of us, from their vast wealth of wisdom and world experience because they went to Stanford or some other joke of an institution, that ranchers are destroying the environment? They're ruining the world, you guys. Those cows farting into the air, it's what's causing global warming. Why can't I go a day without that? Yeah, it's the guy raising your food. He's the one ruining the environment. It's not you. It's not the urban environment, your sterilized environment of concrete and glass, and that couldn't possibly be having any impact. It's those choosing to provide for you. They're the problem. Your electric car is fueled by fossil fuels. There's not enough solar farms in the world right now to cover that. The people who produce your food live a very hard life. They are under constant attack. The last thing they need is a bunch of environmentalist crybabies who don't know a damn thing telling us talking points that they heard from some libtard professor at a college who's secretly a Marxist, not so secretly anymore, and they're too stupid to know that they're pawns of even more powerful people who think communism is just another tool and toy to get what they want, which is your serfdom. It is the consolidation of wealth and property. They're the ones who ate the ranchers. They're the ones who made up these stories that cows are ruining the environment. You know why they did that? Is because ranchers control the most land. They hate that. They think it's theirs because they're smarter than the rest of us. They're more capable. They're elite. And the rest of us should just be grateful that we can be in a world with their vision. That's who's behind it. You think the science really backs up your global warming bullcrap? Look at who funds these organizations. Why is it that the men and women who have the largest personal carbon footprints, flying around in private jets, are distracting you by pointing you to ranchers? Well, the simple fact is that agriculture stands in the way of tyranny in this country. It's the last line of freedom. It's really simply this, guys. If you can't control your food, then you are a slave. It will take you 3 days. 3 days of not knowing where your next meal is going to come from before you will surrender every freedom you ever had just to feed your family, just to feed yourself. 3 days. 3 days and every urban center in this country will turn on itself and tear each other apart. So they have to get rid of the food producers. They've got to consolidate that under their control. They are doing everything they can to drive people out of agriculture, whether it's regulating us into oblivion or if it is simply creating an environment where it's not possible to be profitable to drive families out of the industry. It is insane. And if you don't think it's planned, then you're crazy. You're crazy. Because why would any nation sabotage its own food supply? Like, how stupid do you honestly have to be? Did you know that last year we became a net food importer for the first time? We no longer produce our own food reliably. You think that Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates, with their underground bunkers they're building, are worried about feeding their families? No, they've got it taken care of. They want to starve you out into submission. They want you to give up this silly notion of government by the people. And one of the biggest obstacles in their way are the people that we are working to protect. And that's the rancher that controls 10,000 acres because he raises the cattle that you eat. They got to get rid of him. They got to get rid of the little operations like our families that are producing food for neighbors. They got to get rid of that stuff. Because as long as we can feed our families, we can find a way to push back. They've tried to drive us out by putting all the ranchers in debt. Do you know why Homestead Liberation League exists? It exists because the average rancher is $1.7 million in debt. Did you guys know that? They're in debt. And there's a long history as to how that happened and why that happened. But the simple fact is they don't have the money to fight for themselves anymore. They're not wealthy. You hear somebody who's got like 400 head of cattle, like, oh, they must have. No, they don't have. They're every year is a gamble on whether or not they're going to be able to provide. And if that year goes poorly, they go more into debt. So they can't fight for themselves, and so now more regulations come out. The organizations that pretend to protect them, Farm Bureau sees this, you can suck one. All they do is work for big centralized corporate agriculture, and they drain the little guy to do it. There is regulation up the wazoo, and the reason that the Homestead Liberation League came about was that someone needs to fight for your food. And so while most people that are our donors and sponsors are agricultural producers, you should be one too, because it's your food on the line. It's your food on the line. Right now we're fighting a lawsuit against the Corporate Transparency Act, and it costs a lot of money. Just to give you guys an idea, it was close to $20,000 just to file. Just to file the lawsuit and do all the legal research necessary. And we have great attorneys who are giving us an incredible rate because they care about the cause. And they know we're charitable. But we need your support. If you want to not eat the bugs, then you need to start supporting ranchers. You need to start supporting organizations that have got ranchers' backs. Please think about showing up to our fundraisers this weekend. We still have some tickets left. I know we've sold a lot this week, but we still have some tickets left. You can come and support us. You can just donate to us. We have lots of people doing that, but it is your obligation, your responsibility to protect your family's food supply. So I'll give you 3 simple things that you can do right now to protect food. Start getting a food storage and start gardening in your backyard. Get 3 chickens. Chickens are super easy, and whatever you think, it's easier than you think it is. It's not that hard. Okay? That's a protein source, another dietary source for your family. You need to grow something, okay? Find some space. I don't care if it's a box on your balcony in your apartment. Do it. The second thing you can do is start buying directly from producers. Don't buy from the big chain stores. The big chain stores are feeding you the cheapest piece of garbage they can find so that they can get the biggest profit margin. And guess what? The rancher and farmer who supplied them doesn't make squat. Profits are lower for producers now than they've ever been. Since COVID, basically. So buy directly from those producers. You'll get to see where your food is. Go look at the conditions. You go look at like a factory pork farm, you're never going to want to eat pork again. You go to any one of these amazing operations like Sunnyside Pastures in Utah, Argyle Farms. There's a bunch of them here in Utah. If you're in Salt Lake Valley, Utah Natural Meats. If you're in South Jordan. And go look, how they take care of their animals. I would rather eat meat from those places. So that's the second thing. Support local agriculture. Buy directly from them. Buy directly from stores that are from direct agriculture, local agriculture. And then the third thing you can do to help these organizations is help the people that are their advocates in fighting for them, because they don't have the money to do it themselves. Trust me, I've had so many producers contact me about the lawsuit and say, I wish I could do more. This is all I can do. And I say, thank you. This is who we're fighting for. And it's not because anything other than the fact that without them, without local agriculture, without people finding a way to produce healthy food in this hellscape of garbage and poison that we are being fed nowadays, without these people, we are hosed. Please support your local agriculture. And if you can, come support our cause so that in our lawsuit against the Corporate Transparency Act, the federal government, who's once again trying to destroy not only food producers in this, but all small business owners.